Hi, my name is my lab for assignment, the second hack, part one, for my penetration test and risk management course. The objectives are to enumerate an footprint and to provide a hypothesis of pathology, also OWASP and versus NICTO, summarize CSRF and XSS, utilize NESSUS, and then legal and ethical ramifications. Enumeration of the target. The first part of my enumeration of my target is that I'll need to decipher what the IP address of my target machine is. To do this, I'll use a nmap to conduct a basic sweep of all the IP addresses from 0 to 255. The following command will look like this: nmap 192.168.56.0/24. This will provide me the information about my IP address of the capture toolbox and my virtual machine. As we can see, my virtual machine is 192.168.56.100, and the capture box is 192.168.56.104. So enumeration of the target capture tool 2. In addition to gathering more information on the surface of the target machine, I'll use the following commands. The command will look like this in that dash lowercase s, uppercase B, and 192.168.56.104, which will give providers information on the services on this IP address. As we can see, we see port 22, 80, 111, and more that are open, and then to the right, it tells us the version of these of what they're running. So the next nmap command, we can also get a best guess of what type of operating system, assuming approach the TCP, UDP, and HTTP protocols against all open and closed ports. And we use this by typing nmap dash capital O 192.168.56.104, and it tells me that we're running on Linux kernel 2.6. We can go even deeper for more information on our target to gather some more possible vulnerabilities, like using the following command nmap-p-space capital followed with our IP address of 192.168.56.104, and it provides us more vulnerabilities. You see that port 22 TCP has an open shell, port 80 TCP has an open Apache 2.052 vulnerability. Then port 111 TCP has a RPC bind vulnerability, and a whole bunch of other ones. The next type of application we can utilize for gaining more information is NICTO. NICTO is an open source web server scanner that is free and easy to use tool that provides penetration testing to find potential problems. NICTO checks for presence of multiple index files, HTTP server options, and can identify web server software. NICTO is a very speedy option for scanning, but by far not the most stuffiest option. After installing NICTO and running the application, I found several vulnerabilities such as server Apache, anti-clickjacking X-frame option header were not present, and the XSS protection header wasn't defined. The flaws or hypothesis methodology is when we analyze and predict where a list of hypothesized flaws are in software through an analysis of documentation for that system. This list from a method of gaining information from systems using various types of tools scan for vulnerabilities. So after installing NICTO and running the application, I found several possible vulnerabilities such as the server Apache 2.052 can have a denial of service type attack the web server, and the X-XSS is a protection header wasn't defined and can give a hacker ability to send malicious content. We've utilized a lot of tools that can give us a list of information that we can hypothesize and render our verdict. Another tool that we can use is OWASP-ZAP. OWASP is an open application that provides the top 10 ranking vulnerabilities and remediations guidance to critical web application security risks. The purpose of the report is to offer developers and web application security professionals in-depth knowledge of the most prevalent security risks to mitigate known risks in their applications. By entering a target IP address of 192.168.56.104, we can go through a history and origin output and spider information where we can view the possible vulnerabilities of our target once the scan is complete. As you can see, we found several vulnerabilities. We found a SQL injection, an X-frame, option header not set, absence of anti-CSRF, server leaks information, and so on. So providing a difference between NICTO and ZAP, which is OWASP ZAP, we can find that NICTO is an open source server scanner which performs a comprehensive test against web applications. NICTO provides more web application security and security monitoring tools, including 6,700 potential dangerous file programs. It can perform checks on outdated web server software and version-specific problems. While OWASP is an easy-to-use integration tool that is closely a comparison to NICTO. This application is set out to be the best among its competitors because of the solution's automatic scanning features and its ability to report vulnerabilities, along with it also being a free option due to its open source solution. An experienced penetration tester can utilize OWASP SAP to perform manual security testing, and it provides a top 10 list of vulnerabilities. So going back to the report, we found that there was a cross-scripting XSS attack, and we also found a cross-site reference forgery attack. What are those? So cross-site scripting, it can be described as a hacker breaching our web server and injecting very bad programs into a trusted website or application. The attacker sends malware or fishes users to click on links so that he can do his bidding and still access session codes. While cross-site reference forgery is another type of attack which an attacker sends a request with an application where the user is already logged in. It uses different website or elements to interfere and send requests within the application and originate from the outside of the application. So the last part of a application that we can use for scanning vulnerabilities is Nessus. Another detailed scanning program utilizing a GUI interface which scans for vulnerabilities. We create a template by clicking a new scan and it will provide with a list of scans. We will set up the scan using the web application test if our target IP address is 192.168.56.104 and run the scan. After the scan is complete, we can see that we have 28 high vulnerabilities along with 5 low vulnerabilities and 2 critical ones. If we double click on the vulnerabilities, it will expand on the list of vulnerabilities which is shown on the right. And we have a list of well over 10 vulnerabilities. I only will cover 2 for brevity. So the 2 vulnerabilities I will cover are the multiple cross-scripting and the remote website server that does not send extract options. So the PHP 4.2 multiple XSS vulnerabilities is when display errors and HTML errors are on, which allow remote attackers to inject web script language that aren't filtered when they are included in the result of an error message. A web application potentially is a vulnerability to click hijacking, exposing the site to a clickjacking, an area of vulnerable page that is different than what the user perceives that page to be. This is a result in a user performing a fraudulent or malicious transaction. The attack vectors I would use are, well, the top 2 ones are software vulnerabilities and compromised user credentials. Attack vectors are used to attack software vulnerabilities of a target, such as one of weakness I found on Nico scam and the Apache 2.052, which is an exploit that I could do a denial of service type of attacks, while another is a compromised user credentials by using brute force tactics to gain entry to web servers, such as using vulnerabilities of XSS. The legal and ethical ramifications with vulnerability disclosure. Within many different organizations that we provide penetration testing services, we must communicate and disclose what we have found in depth in our reports of scanning our client software or hardware. Just like when we go to a doctor for an illness, you expect that patient to understand the full scope of what he or she will be introduced to. This is no different with providing information to our client. Your clients want to know how this affects them and their organization. By identifying and scanning the vulnerabilities and providing solutions for your client organization on a strategy to move forward to mitigate against vulnerabilities found. Legally and ethically, there are no laws that regulate disclosure. However, there have been many legal battles that involve with not disclosing their vulnerabilities. However, ethically, we have no more obligation to provide organizations with a safe and secure avenues. Here are a list of my references.